Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the F1 podcast straight to the apex. Join Tony, Mark and James as they discuss Formula One in general, some controversy that's been going on, and the upcoming British Grand Prix. Thank you for listening along and joining us, checking out the Formula One podcast and all of our podcasts. Whilst we've got you, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave any reviews you might want to leave and just get these podcasts out there. Let's do this. Right, here we go. This is CookieCast, straight to the apex.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? Welcome back to Straight to the Apex, the best, in my opinion, F1 podcast in the world right now. You're joined by Mark.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
No race last weekend, so we're just going to have a bit of an informal chat. But today, something hit the headlines, which was a bit very, very sad for F1. And a lot of messages were fired around. So I thought, why not jump on here? Let's have a chat about it. So, if you didn't know already, some guy who used to drive, I think he was a world champion, potentially was a world champion three times. Is it Piquet? Piquet, is that how you pronounce his name?
Nelson Piquet.
Mm-hmm. He did a podcast November time and racially slurred Lewis. And it's all come to light now. I don't really know why it's come to light right now. But yeah, and everything's kind of really kicked off. The FIA have made a statement. Mercedes have made a statement. I think most teams have made a statement. Yeah, not really what we need in F1. What are your guys' thoughts off the bat?
You want to go first, buddy?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just shocked that this was back in November, and I didn't realise it was. Why has it only come to light now? Obviously, for people that don't know, he's used the N-word to describe Lewis, and it was said as a joke, apparently, but Nelson Piquet isn't well liked, shall we say. He's very controversial, and a lot of people are saying that this isn't a surprise. But what really pisses me off about it all is it was in November, so why has it come out now, the week before the British Grand Prix?
I think I don't know. Go on, James. Sorry.
I think the reason it's come out now is because the conversation they was having in November was about the Silverstone race last year.
Right.
Obviously, not going in. I'm not going to use the names or anything else like that. We all know what the word was, and for those of you that don't, like Mark just said, it's the N word, which it's not a nice word in any way, shape, or form. But pretty much what was said was the little N put the car in and left there because there was nowhere to pass two cars on that corner. He was referring to the crash between him and Verstappen.
Right.
Yeah, so I think with it coming up to Silverstone this week, I think that's why it's just suddenly come to fruition to everyone else's common knowledge. Yeah.
Because it was on a podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was on a podcast that he did back in Brazil?
Yeah, CNN Brazil.
Yeah. But like I say, I mean, the world at the minute is all about, racial things and things are happening. And it always seems to be so long after the fact. Like, we've been going through this for the last year or two and trying to clamp down on it and Black Lives Matter and everything. Surely it should have been picked up long before this. But it's
agree.
whatever. But whenever it was picked up, like you
Fair
say,
shout.
it's wrong. It's yeah. What do you think, Ton?
I just think it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you hear something like that, you're supposed to call it out straight away. So why has it took this long? Why suddenly now?
The fact that someone's been sat on it for like 7 months.
Yeah.
Is it because it wasn't trending or anything back then? It wasn't the in thing. It wasn't the right time to drop it. Maybe it was. Now it is the right time because it is the British GP. That just doesn't sit right with me. Doesn't sit right with me. You're supposed to call it out straight. If you hear it, you're supposed to call it out immediately, and it's supposed to be dealt with immediately. So why have we waited 6, 7, 8 months for it? That's just bang out.
This is what I mean. The racial and homophobic slurs, they all seem to be after the time. Like, someone should have called him out straight away for that in November. And we're now in nearly July, and it's only just come to the light because the press have got hold of it because it's British Grand Prix week. Like, the press, surely, like you just said, Jim, the press have probably been sat on this all that time, just waiting for the right moment, just to sell newspapers. Yeah, the whole society is wrong, innit? It's we need to. This is what we need to change, not just the comments, the way the papers are doing it and talking about it and reporting it, because it's all wrong. It's just awful.
That's the media in general, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll never. The negativity sells more than positivity. Probably hence why this country is in the state that it's in, really, because people turn on the news and it's just negative pretty much majority of the time. Because it sells, because we're just a moaning nation. But that's digressing. This is wrong. This should have been nipped in the bud straight away. It's wrong for it to come out now. I hope the FIA and F1 deal with this accordingly. I hope he gets. I don't know what the punishment should be. I don't know. You make a mistake, you say something wrong, you apologise, and whatever ban there is. But what is a ban? What do you think is a good enough punishment?
He probably won't be allowed to any Grand Prix again if the FIA have got anything about him. But up until recording, a lot of the teams have put out statements, all but Williams, and Williams is who he raced for. So, I mean, like I say, it's still early. Williams have still got time. I'm sure Williams will do the right thing and put something out there.
I can't imagine Williams not. I mean, the fact that pretty much every team's come out with some kind of statement. The FIA have, and everybody else. Really, if you don't put a comment out now, you might as well
missed it.
Be in the same bloody bandwagon as that bigot, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
if you're not going to say something about it, you pretty much agree with the comments.
Yeah. I mean, he used to race for him. You know, make an example of him. I mean, fair play to Red Bull. We slag them off on this podcast a lot, but for people that don't know, obviously we talked about this off air. Nelson Piquet is the father of Max's girlfriend, and even Max and Red Bull have come out and said they don't agree with it. To me, well done. You know, I do get the feeling, and I mean, I don't know Max Verstappen. He'll probably be embarrassed by this because it's
he will be.
You know, he's that type of character. He doesn't want anything to take away from the racing, and he'll probably be raging about this behind closed doors. If he's that way inclined, which I hope he is, it's just ridiculous.
But then
it's one of the things I like about Max, though, as well. Yes, he's an aggressive driver, and he's always in there, but he does say it as it is. I mean, obviously, you know, his comments about Drive to Survive, and he turned around and said, I don't want anything to do with it because it just... Obviously, he made the comment of, it makes me look bad, but then he also made the same comment about Lando as well, saying, I don't agree with how they're portraying you because it's not factual.
Mm.
So, you know, he's not afraid to hold back. And, you know, as much as I don't like the guy, yeah, you've got to respect him for that. You really have.
The whole taking the knee scenario the other year, he never took the knee, but he explained why he didn't want to. That's fine. No, you know, he said, I'm not a racist. I just don't believe that this action, I don't believe in it. So he said, I'm not going to do it. So fair play to him. You know?
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's
And at the same time,
almost a
with the comments that was made, you kind of understand why he was annoyed with you know the whole situation between Hamilton and Max and stuff like that. I get that. You know, at the end of the day, that's your daughter's other half. You know, your future son-in-law and everything else. You are going to be defensive, but that gives you no excuse to use words and names and anything like that. That gives you no right.
No.
I agree. I've seen a few like he should be banned from the paddock for the rest of the season, or there's people that he should be banned for life from attending an F1 race. I don't know. I don't really know what the punishment is, but yeah, they've got to get it right. This FIA, they've got to get it right because all this black. We've already said it. Taking the knee, Black Lives Matter, all this. They've got to go hard on him. Well, it's not unfortunately. He's been an absolute piece of shit, and they need to go hard on him because you can't say that. You can't say anything like that. It's 2022 or whatever. You can't say stuff like that. It's just really surprising from a person like him as well. That's like been like at the top of the sport, like in the limelight. Like some people like look up to this guy. Like why? Like it just don't. Why the fuck would you do it? Like why I just don't get it. It's just so foreign to me. Like it's beyond foreign. Like how I just don't get it. I don't get it.
But like James,
I really don't understand it.
Like James just said, though, yes, he was probably annoyed with Lewis because of the Max incident last year at Silverstone. But to use that word, I know that word it's a bit of a funny word, isn't it? Because certain people in America use it as their own language, yet other people say it and it's a racial slur. It's a really strange word. But come on, he knows better than that. He knows better not to use it. You know, I wouldn't use that word, and neither would you two guys. It's regardless. He's in the limelight. He's in the, you know, he's a 3-time world champion, and just to pass it off like that, yeah, I don't know. Like I say,
that to me is another thing that makes it worse as well. I mean, I'm not saying if it was anybody else, it wouldn't be so bad. Yes, it would be, but like you said, he's a multiple world champion. That there's people out there that, you know, would have looked up to him, probably have looked up to him, and, you know, are going to look up to him a little bit in the future and stuff like that. But you make comments like that, and are they then going to be thinking, oh well, it's fine to behave like that, or are they just going to suddenly lose the respect that they had for the guy? And for me, I really hope it's more a case of they lose respect for the guy.
Yeah, definitely. But again, what it's done is it's taken away what is the build-up to the British Grand Prix. You know, it's sold out. We had Goodwood last weekend. Obviously, Max and Lewis last year with a crash. The year before was Max and Leclerc racing hard all race, and then Lewis won. I think it was a safety car that kind of he was in front. We're not pitting, but we should be talking about that. British Grand Prix is always a great race, always a fantastic event for Britain. Yet we're talking about something different, and like Tony said, we're talking about something negative.
Yep. And it adds like a whole different dynamic to it now. Like you'll be going there, like And it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? You can have like a bit of a hoodoo over it now. Like, what's he going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be like that. It should be
There's
like,
going to be some
this is a
gesture
fucking
made.
cracking weekend of racing. Let's go fucking celebrate it.
There's going to be some gesture made, isn't there? And we're all waiting for that now. And we're waiting to see who joins in with it and that. Like I say, and that's absolutely taken away from what should be, you know, since COVID, obviously a massive crowd again at Silverstone.
Massive. Tickets ridiculous.
And even on the day, it's going to get brought up on the day. You know, one of the things that I think is going to happen on the back of it is it's really going to put some fire in Hamilton, and he's going to go out there with another point to prove. And he's going to get interviewed either before the race or after. Likelihood is, I think he's going to get interviewed afterwards as well. And he's going to get asked. They'll come out with, you know, obviously comments was made, you know, it got brought up in the news earlier this week. How do you feel about it? And he says, all the work that, and not just the FIA, that all the work that pretty much every sport out there has done, you know, with F1, it's we race as one. With rugby, it's tackle it. I can't remember what it is with football. I'm not a big football guy, but every single sport out there is doing their thing to fight racism and stuff like that. And this one bigot goes out there, makes a comment. Granted, 7 months ago, but it doesn't matter when it was made. The point it was made, and it just sets you back. And like you said earlier, it's all negative, and it's what everyone's going to talk about now.
Can you imagine if, I don't know, one of the Brazilian World Cup winners, suddenly it came out like he said this? It'd be mega, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely mega. Like, I don't know, Brazilian right back was one. Like, it'd be absolutely like, they would fucking go for him. Like, even if you want a football fan, you'd fucking go for him, wouldn't you? Like, Jesus, like. And I wonder if this guy, because of who he is and his connections, let's say, I just wonder how people are going to deal with this. I wonder if it's just going to I wonder if I wonder if there's been a plan in place. Like, if this comes out, this is how we're going to react. Like, this is what's going to happen. Surely, like lawyers and being involved and things like that. Surely, but I'm just really, really, really interested to see how the FIA and Formula One deal with it.
Whatever they do, they need to do it fast. They can't just put a statement out on social media and everything else like that, and then like, yeah, we're good. Sorted it, like,
good our bit now. Yeah.
Or we'll investigate this further. Nah, mate. We can all see what he's done. Deal with it now.
The one thing.
Another. Sorry, go on, buddy.
I was going to say, the one thing that it's worrying about is, like you've just said, it's going to be a question that Lewis is going to have to deal with before, during, after the race. He's got enough problems with a shit car. But as the only black driver in Formula One, it's quite a lot of pressure and spotlight to put on him, innit? And I don't agree with it.
And Brazilian.
Well, he is now Brazilian as well, yeah.
That's Brazilian,
that's what I was just about to say. It would be interesting to see how the people of Brazil are reacting to this, considering, you know, Hamilton's just been given a Brazilian citizenship just because of what they feel about him. You know, they love him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He is their Senna. Like, they've adopted him because he is, you know, he idolizes Senna, and they've adopted him because he's in that ilk, he's in that, you know, that breath, isn't he? But yes, that's a good point, actually, how Brazilians will react, because Nelson Piquet, being Brazilian, probably a legend in his country. Now he said that, what's the feeling? Is it going to change?
Yeah, he's a three-time legend. You know, we've got this new guy who's like 7 times champion. You know, and he's Brazilian, so fuck you.
Back him, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Lewis Hamilton is arguably the best and the greatest F1 driver that's ever lived.
Isn't he? This
He's up
debate
there.
goes.
He's in that conversation.
He's in the conversation. This debate goes on and on. I think Lewis is one of them drivers because he's current and he's won 7 world championships. Michael Schumacher didn't get called a great when he was driving until near the end of his career. And I think Lewis is, people love or hate Lewis, but I think you kind of take stock when they're retired and you think, wow. And that's when you become a legend. I think when you're racing, you probably don't, So, but like you say, that is a hard decision because it's all about different eras, different cars.
The geezer could have had 10 championships.
He could.
There's a year of Max last year, obviously. Rosberg and that hoo-ha. And then back to the quiz. He lost it by a point. Yeah. Back in the. But then it's like, did he win it on the last race? I'm sure it was once at least. Last few laps.
Yeah. Timo Glock in the wet. 2000 was that his first championship? 2007.
I think yes.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Him and Massa. And Massa crossed the line as champion, and then Hamilton had to get 6th or something.
Lewis passed somebody, didn't he? On the second to last corner.
Yeah, in I think it was a second to last.
Fucking pandemonium.
But I mean, you'll never know.
Yeah, I was watching that the other day. Actually, there was an interview with Massa, and I'd forgot all about everything that happened because they went back to Ferrari's, because it was Ferrari was driving for. Yeah. Anyway, they went back to his paddock and his dad's there and his brother. And they're going absolutely fucking berserk, Felipe's just done it.
And, I remember.
And all of a sudden,
they
see the monitors and the faces just suddenly drop, and that was Lewis's first one.
Like you say, you'll never know who the best driver is unless they was all in the same car. You bring back Niki Lauda, you bring back Michael Schumacher. And that, like say, that debate can go on, and that's like any sport, isn't it? He's the best player in the world. You don't know, and it's like say
he's in that pedigree.
Yeah, definitely.
He's definitely in that pedigree. But yeah, like you just said, Matt, the car he's driving is completely different to what Senna drove or Schumacher or Lauda. I mean, when Lauda was driving, it was an actual gear stick in the car. It wasn't these flappy paddles that all the drivers have now and stuff like that. But yeah, stick them all in the same car. That'd be interesting. But it's not just the drive though either. It's the personality. It's their actual persona. I mean, Max could go on to, for all we know, Max could go on and actually get more world championships than Lewis. But has Max got that persona? I don't know.
No.
Exactly, yeah. And that's it.
And that's the other thing that puts you in that category, really.
I mean, we're all Lewis fans. Plus, me and James more than Tony, obviously.
No shit.
Yeah. But, like you say, it's hard to call him the greatest. You just can't, can you? Because...
No.
So it's a wide open debate. It's an interesting one, but I think it's something that you'll never ever know because it's just not possible to get them all. Jack Brabham is renowned for being a real good racing driver. Sterling Moss was called one of the greatest. He never won a championship, Sterling Moss. So yeah, very interesting.
Let's move on, shall we? Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Bit different. Did anyone watch Goodwood?
Bits of it, yeah.
Goodwood?
Bits of it.
I watched bits of it. Never really been into it before. Watched it online. Ended up watching it for a couple of hours and was like, wow. Fucking hell, this is interesting. But you said it was quite expensive. You said it was expensive, didn't you, Mark?
Well, you've shocked me.
You said it was expensive. I can't remember now.
Your text message said that you was bored as fuck. So
no, it didn't.
Yes, it was very, very. Yes, it did.
Let me fucking have a look at this.
Yeah, apparently Goodwood is more or as expensive as going to Silverstone.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Sorry, man. I'm just
I thought-
scrolling through the WhatsApp chat now, just to try and find it. And the first thing that came up was a picture of you at Track Sport, looking all sad and gloomy.
I don't want to talk about that. We've forgot about go-karting. I've moved on.
Well done, James, for bringing that up. Thank you.
To be honest, I think maybe all the listeners from last week's podcast are probably thinking, yeah, can we move on? I don't want another 15-minute outburst from him.
Well, Katie's just listened to that episode and she said she was absolutely pissing herself at Tony ranting and ranting and ranting at the beginning. And she went, didn't he go on? I was like, yeah. I said, you didn't see him on the actual day talking just to randoms. Hey,
Everybody.
mate, beat him. Hey, mate, beat him. Nobody cares, mate. Nobody cares. Barring you. And me, obviously.
So I'm looking back at the chat, Mark, on our group,
yeah.
and there's no, I've not said that.
Maybe it was a
I've
private
not said
thing
that.
then.
No, I just got to it now. It was you, Mark, who actually said the cost of it and everything else like that. I thought I see the bit that Mark's going on about, actually, Tony. You said, don't watch Goodwood Festival. You will lose hours of your weekend.
Yeah.
At first, when I read it, it was like you was really bored and you wanted them hours back. But the more I read it, it's like, no, you got that stuck into it. It's like when you first discover TikTok and you think, oh, I'll spend 5 minutes on this. And before you know it, you're getting a phone call from the school and it's your headmaster saying, why haven't you picked up your son? It's been 3 days.
Sorry, I did take that as you were bored. Sorry.
Yeah, for everyone that is worried, John came home safe that day.
Yeah.
He did.
With all his legs and arms attached. He was missing a trainer, but he was all right.
Good God, Jesus.
You had to sell it for scraps.
No, I honestly thought Goodwood was quality. Didn't really know it was that big. I thought it was just a little bit of a festival and the cars go up the hill, but it's actually a lot more than that.
It's got bigger and bigger. I think over the last 5 or 6 years, it's just got massive. Like, there's classic cars and there's all sorts.
Just so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, saw a guy in a McLaren who was quadriplegic and he was using infrared to drive the car.
Oh
I wanted to ask you about that.
Mad. Arrow Technologies. That was what the company was called. And then there was loads of hyper cars. Then they keep cutting to Ferrari, the stands, and there was one that was Ferrari, and they're going through these. There's like 40 in the world of this, and then I didn't know this, but there was one there. If you're a customer of Ferrari, like a very good customer, you can approach them and say, I want a one-of-one of this car and help them like make it. And then
really?
Yeah. I didn't even know that there was one there. Like, and I was like, fuck, this is just absolutely ridiculous. And just the history though, how far cars have come. And they showed a few more electric vehicles and you were thinking, Jesus Christ, like these things are going to take over. They were just so quick, like so much quicker than they. Go on.
This car with the infrared technology thing for the quadriplegic guy, how was he steering it? Was it tracking his eyes or something? So if he looks...
Yeah.
So it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
What happens when he blinks in a corner?
That's what I was just thinking. So you're doing your daily commute. You've got up in the morning, you've done your gym, you're now driving to work. While you're driving, you see someone jogging towards you. Are you just going to keep looking at the road, or are you going to, just do that kind of thing where you just like slowly just turn your head to the, right around, and before you know it, you've done a U-E and you've killed everyone?
So what you're saying is we're going to see a lot of joggers run over. That's what you're saying, aren't we? And we're going to know why.
I'm just saying, jogging could get dangerous.
Quadriplegics driving McLarens.
Yeah, look, I'm just saying, don't worry about shin splints or getting blisters or anything. Look out for the guys who's rubbernecking.
Yeah. Technology. Going that way. Don't matter.
Technology.
Everybody.
Technology.
Should we take a quick break there?
Let's break.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Yeah, go for it.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back, people, to part 2 of the podcast. we've gone over the racism debacle, and we spoke a little bit about Goodwood. But the second part, I think we're just going to go questions. I've got a lot of questions. I did put it on our social media, Instagram, but nobody asked us a question on it. So follow us, like us, share us. I mean, we are 10 episodes in, but it'd be nice if we had just a little bit of feedback. You know what I mean? Like, I think Andy's medical.
I've got some feedback for you.
What?
You're a twat.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
some feedback. Yeah, some feedback.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
Well, great.
I love you, though, buddy.
Cheers, James. You sexy motherfucker. I love you. You know. Anyway, questions. F1 and some random ones.
Okay.
Because I feel like the 3 fans that we've got probably our 3 fans already know us, but for other people,
I was going to say they'll know us. They're our partners.
I was going to say we're either married to or engaged, so at least I hope that's the fans.
Oh yeah.
Right then, first one.
Go on.
What got you into F1? What got you into it? Was there like a memory, or was it somebody, or just what is it? What got you into F1?
That's
Do you want me
deep.
to start?
That's deep for episode 10.
It's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep, but
you can start, but is this your or Adam's answer? Because Adam, your brother, is more into Formula One than you.
Well, yeah, you do. Well, since you mentioned him, yeah, he was. Well, he is my brother and part of my family, so I think he may have got involved the same way as me.
All right, okay.
Hey, if he's a special guest next week, then maybe you could ask him yourself.
So, special guest.
We don't do special guests lightly. So
yeah. No, but we said we're going to do it.
Occasion. And he may have some special things lined up.
Oh.
Just saying.
Go on then. How did you get into Formula
One?
Go on, James.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, do we include him in the quiz?
No.
If there's more of us to try and beat Mark, it might.
He could be the host of the quiz, and it's like a shoot off of the 3 co-presenters.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, let's do that one, Tony.
Please. He needs to do a quiz.
Tony.
I've already told him that you are the quiz master, and you need to think of questions for us 3, and there will be a prize for the winner. And
yeah, but he's your brother. Are you going to have the answers?
What am I for?
No. Adam was telling me on the night anyway.
There'll be a prize. There'll be a prize, and it's a one-off prize because it's Silverstone. All right.
Can I just, while we're talking about quizzes, can I just remind everyone that you was 2-0 up last week and giving it the big uns? Can we just remind everyone what happened in that quiz? What did you win it? I mean, you was 2-0 up. Did you win?
No.
No. You drew then. Did you draw? You draw.
No, I lost.
Didn't you?
I lost.
You lost. You lost. You lost.
I lost.
Sorry, everyone.
Anyway, shall we carry on?
Yeah. How did you get into Formula One, Tony?
Well, I used to go to my grandparents every Sunday and have like a Sunday lunch. It was always tradition. And it was after we'd eaten, that's what ended up on telly all the time. I found it a little bit boring, but the more I watched it, I was like, okay, this has tickled me a bit. And then over the years, just kept tuning in now and again. But that was my first taste and kind of got me into it. And it was just Schumacher just smashing everyone out of the park every time. Damon Hill losing consistently. That's all I remember. Just thinking, he'll win. No, he didn't. But yeah,
that was a good era though. That one, the whole Damon Hill Schumacher thing.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
It was, yeah. That's really what got me into it. Really. What about you guys?
James, you want to go first?
Yeah. So started up very similar story to what Tony just said. It was all when I was a kid. It was always on when I was having my Sunday roast, and yeah, I always found it a bit boring. It's like, how can people just watch people just driving around in a circle? Which it isn't really. When you look at it now, it's nothing like that. But yeah, I always like, how can you watch it live? Because you'll be sitting there, you'll see about 20 cars go flying by, and then you're sitting staring at an empty track for about a minute, 2 minutes, and then you see them all whiz by again. Another 2 minutes. And I was like, it's not something I could do that. But yeah, I got into it and picked up more stuff, seeing the crashes, the fights, and everything else. That all got me into it a bit. I really got into it, though, believe it or not, when I met Charlie. And I realised when we was watching, I think it was the Canadian Grand Prix after I'd just moved in, and I was really getting into it. And then Charlie went and got a cotton bud stuck in her ear. And we had to go to the walking centre because she needed it removing. And all I kept thinking was, I was enjoying that race. That's pretty much when I realised.
But it was worth it, buddy. Wasn't it? It was worth it. I mean, look where you are now. It's amazing. I mean, your father-in-law's got a G-Wagon, so that's just...
Yeah, and we've never got cotton buds in the house anymore.
Yeah. She's not allowed one near her ear.
I've just got a house, children.
It's really weird. We've never, ever discussed this off the podcast in general in life, and we've known each other for so many years. I first got into it. My dad used to have it on the telly on a Sunday while we had a Sunday roast, and I called him out, and I actually called it boring. And I said, I'm not watching these cars go round and round, and it would just be on in the background. And then the older I got more into model cars. Like I had like a Jaguar XJ 220, I had Ferraris, Mech, all model cars, and I got into engineering in cars a little bit later in life, and I started watching it myself because it really interested me, like the engineering side of it. And when I first started my job in AutoCAD, I found out that Formula One teams use AutoCAD, and that's what really kind of drove me into it. But yeah, it's so weird that we all are similar stories.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
And like
I didn't like it. It was crap.
This is not set up, honestly, everybody. This is not set up. We've never ever discussed this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I used to call my dad out for it, and now, because I'm so big into it, he says to me, "Oh, I remember when you used to hate it," and because he don't really follow it anymore. Well, now I'm massive into it, and it's probably in my top. Well, it is in my top 3 spots, definitely.
And you're probably going, Dad, for fuck's sake, listen to the podcast.
Oh God, I don't want him listening to it. Jesus,
that's crazy, that, isn't it? Like that's
Like,
if you think about it.
Tony's language.
No.
Don't want you hanging around with that Tony boy anymore.
Yes, that's crazy, isn't it? You just wouldn't think that. Like looking back, like my granddad is passed away now, so it's like you look back and you think, Jesus Christ, I used to like sit there and be like, I don't know, end up like playing on the floor with a board game or fucking just walk around the house or just, and then there was a crash and I'd be like, oh my God, look at that crash, look at all that fire, like, and then I'd get bored again. Like to think back to like, you would never have thought like how far the sport's come and like where you are now. Like we're doing a podcast on it. You sat in your living room watching it on your 50, 60 inch TV. Like it's crazy. I think driving, being able to drive yourself gives you a lot more relation with it. Like not until I started driving, you think, I've got a 1 litre Corsa and fucking hell, I'm doing 60 miles an hour. I'm like, shit, this is quick. And then you watch it and you think, holy shit, they're doing 200 miles an hour. It's like, what? But I haven't been. So I can't appreciate how, because that's what they say, don't they? It's different when you're actually there compared to on TV.
Yeah,
it's like another level.
That's what we've got to do. Then we've got to get him to a race.
Well, I'm unfortunately for me, Tony's just celebrated the big 3-0. Next year, 2 of us are the big 4-0.
Not me.
Not
Is that you
Tony.
and Tony? Are you
No.
skipping 10 years, Tony?
Yeah, he's skipping 10 years. But
Yeah, we'll go for big 4-0.
a friend of mine, he went on a track day at Silverstone, and what it was, you started in a lower formula car, and you built up to, I think it was all included in the price. It was about 200 or 300 quid, and basically you build up, and then you get to like a Formula Ford that's not Formula One level, but it's just under, and it's something I'd really want to do because we all enjoy go-karting. And I'd love to go and do single seater and feel what it feels like in a cockpit like that. Because like I say, I love cars. I've done track days, like driving experiences, with like Ferraris and Audi R8. I do love driving fast, as we'll know by last week on the motorway, trying to get someone back for a surprise birthday party when he just wants a drink here, there and everywhere. Oh, it's fine, mate. Don't worry. So I had to drive.
Going quick at 70 miles an hour.
Oh, definitely 70 miles an hour.
Very quick.
I love driving. And I would love to drive around the track and race. So, like saying that to me, that's what makes it more interesting now, because you appreciate them guys are doing 205 mile an hour, and it's just awesome, innit? It's just they are like fighter pilots. What a life and what a job to have.
Well, that was my next question. Like, you're leading into it perfectly.
Okay.
Like, what is its greatest asset? What pulls people to watch it? And I think that's probably it. They're going so quick in such a small car that's so powerful.
How do your brain and your eyes comprehend that speed to like pull out, or at what second to hit straight to the apex, or
especially now that you can see like the helmet cam and stuff like that. You see the view they've got, the halo in the way, and the speed they're going at. They're in a straight and they're doing a good 200k. Sorry, 200 kilometers, not 200k. Jeez, that'd be ludicrous. And they're just like, right, this is where I need to brake. And they're looking at the turn after the turn they're doing. And their head's bobbing all over the place. It's like, how can you even see what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be driving at 30 miles an hour. I'll go to just turn the volume on the car and I'll swerve a little bit.
Yeah. It's just like, say, how do you compute like the starts? That always amazes me. First corner, how they don't all crash, like because you are computing all that information, and to me, it's just the stress that their bodies must be going through, the G's they're pulling, etc. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's just awesome. Like I say, it is like a fighter pilot.
Yeah, they're driving the car at ridiculous speeds. Visibility is not always going to be great because of it, but they're also doing everything in the car. They're controlling on that steering wheel, whether it's obviously the gear change and everything else, but there's all the little engine controls and the settings that they can do, and there's the little button. I always love this one on the steering wheel. There's a little button for the drink as well, so they can push that. And they're driving around. They've got all that gear on. They're going with all these G's against them. They're controlling the steering wheel. They're changing the settings on the steering wheel. They're trying to have a drink, and they're talking to someone on the radio at the same time.
Well, every corner they have to change the brake bias. They have to change what engine mode they're in. Then they have to fuel save. Then they have to turn strap 4. Then they have to turn this and that on. Then they've got a button to like get the boost. Then the DRS, and it's like, freaking hell, you're driving a computer at 200 mile an hour round, and then you see them, don't you? Because they have the little track layout in the car, a lot of them, and it says like obviously turn 1, 2, 3, etc. Like they're probably looking at that thinking, right, that's the next corner. We went karting on Sunday. I think it took me to the last lap to realise what corner was coming up. Do you know, you're processing that.
That's why I said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It got really annoying for me because it was towards the end. I suddenly remembered talking to someone and they said, I saw this thing, and F1 drivers said, don't look at the corner they're taking, they look at the next corner. So I tried doing it, and all of a sudden, I was just flying through corners where I was drifting before. I was hitting them perfect. I'm like, I'm more pissed off that I've only figured this out when there's like maybe 2 laps of this race left.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they're trained. That's the thing. They're trained to do that.
Yeah.
Like, as a beginner, you're not even beginners, are we? We're just regular road drivers, and you're always looking at like, oh, there's a person. There's what's that in front of you? The dangers, the hazards, aren't you? In an F1, so when you go onto a track, it's like you're looking at the next thing, like literally like 10 yards in front of you. So when it's like an actual racing driver, like they're probably coming up to a corner. Well, like you said, James, they're coming up to the corner, but they're already looking at the exit to then try and then when they come out that corner, they're probably thinking, they're probably looking at the apex and they're thinking about they must be thinking like so quick, like.
Well, have we seen that? I think Daniel Ricciardo does it, and I think Pierre Gasly does it. So they do the tennis ball like drop thing, and then they have that machine, which blows my mind. And then they have that machine on the wall, don't they, with the lights, the reactions, and that's just all, like you say, they're like that all the time. And
I mean. You look at the reaction times. That's one of the things I love about the race now, as well. Just after the first lap or two, they then show you like the reaction times of some of the drivers when the lights have gone out, and it's like 0.3 of a second. You're like, fucking hell.
I know.
And we normally get like sitting at a red light, and we get bibbed by the car behind us because we haven't seen our light turn green. So, oh yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah, because we're doing our radio, or like you say, we're doing something, but. They're changing the brake bias and they're changing that, and you think, like I say, it's just amazing now. And again, that goes back to what we said in part 1. You know, Nicky Lauda didn't have to do any of that. He just physically drove the car with a gear stick. It'd be interesting to see the crossover. Like, you know, could they cope with that?
No radio either, was there? The only communication they had with the pit wall was when they was in the pits. Yeah. They'd be in the pits, and while they was fueling the car, someone would come over and going, you know, you need to get a couple of seconds off that lap next time and all that kind of stuff. You know, they had no communication when they was out the track. That was it. That was on the Todd.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. My next question was, what do you most like about F1? But I think again we've covered that really.
I think we've covered that. Yeah.
Next one. Who would, out of the current season, who would you want as your teammate?
Sebastian
Vettel.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton once said that Vettel was his best teammate,
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's the thing. You could straight away go, oh, Lewis Hamilton. But is it? Would it be?
No. What if you was a racing driver? Who would you want? Is that what?
Who would you want?
Is? So if I was a F1 driver now, who would I want as a teammate with me in that team?
Yeah.
I want Latifi because at least I'd look good.
Yes, I was thinking.
Yeah, but
there's so many scenarios here. Like,
as a personality, Daniel Ricciardo.
I did think that.
As a teammate that would back you up and be a team player and you'd get along with, probably Bottas.
That's my pick. I think I'd go Bottas because he's had he's a, like I've said before, he's the world's greatest second place racer. He's been at Merc for so long. He's not doing too bad at where he is now. He knows his stuff, doesn't he? He's pretty.
Yeah.
But then
that's pretty good.
Seb.
He seems a pretty nice guy.
Seb would be a good teammate, I think.
Seb's good. Yeah, he'd be a good.
I think Seb would be good for like the experience kind of thing.
I wouldn't want Fernando. That'd be no. I wouldn't want Lewis. Like you say, no chance.
I don't know. I think just to be his teammate, and I think you'd learn so much. But it'd be
absolutely awesome to say something like that. But What do I did think Ricardo for a little bit for the personality, but then I was like, but that'd be it. You're not gonna like this one, but Lando probably. Yeah, I told mate. I said you're not gonna like it.
You did say.
Well, I think Perez. I think I'd take Perez as a teammate.
That's a good shout.
That's a good shout.
That is a good shout.
Very good. You could have a lot of tequila with him.
But he's everything, isn't he? You know, he's got your back.
If he'll move over and not like it, but he'll do what's best for the team. Yeah. Like you wouldn't want Max, would you? Because you'd want to absolutely kill Josh Verstappen's head in, wouldn't you? You'd absolutely.
No, he'd let you buy. He'd let you buy, and then he'd put the power on your head.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. You wouldn't want Lance Stroll because he'd be running to Daddy every time you beat him, which would be every week. Are you only talking current drivers?
Let's open it up. Anyone, any racer. Jensen looks like a sound guy.
No, Charlie's not going to like this, but I think Jensen's quite fake. I don't think he's as nice as he's in front of the camera, behind the camera.
And we've just lost a fan.
Sorry, Charlie.
Absolute silence.
No, you know what? I'd probably agree with you there, Mark. I do like the guy. I think he probably taught Lewis a little bit. Probably more to how to work with the engineers and stuff like that. But
Webber,
I get that. I kind of see that. Yeah,
Webber. I was thinking Matt Webber. Yeah.
Trying to think.
Wouldn't want Mansell because apparently Mansell was an absolute prick. Like he literally, no one liked him. He was an arsehole, absolute arsehole. Damon Hill.
I've got one, but nobody's said. But it's very good. Kimi Räikkönen.
Oh yeah,
that'd be it.
I mean, you won't get much conversation out of him, but if you offered him a beer, he will literally be with you, won't he?
I can imagine he'd have to be your best friend. Oh, I wouldn't give a
You
fuck.
could have a really good chat with him. It was only the press conferences and stuff like that he hated.
Yeah.
And this was the other thing I was watching the other day. The same day that I saw that Felipe Massa last lap thing against Lewis. And it was like his last interview with Brundle. And it was like a couple of days before his last race. So it's fucking June buggy. He said, "Oh, you've never really been a big fan of the press conference. What is it about it?" And he said, "Well, they always ask the same questions, and I've got to talk the same shit every time, so I don't want to do it." And I'm like, "Fucking hell, mate."
Yeah.
Love it. He'll come out. He'll say one little thing, and then that's it. He's done. He's like, "I've done my bit now."
Yeah. I'm just gonna go turn my light on because I look like I'm in the Blair Witch Project.
Oh God! If the camera turns around now and he's stood in the corner, that's it. I'm gone. Nope.
Jesus, I think he's just nuked his front room. For those viewers that are listening on the air, for those, there's been a gas explosion. Oh no, he's back. Oh, it's all right. He's there. He's all right.
I'm there. There wasn't a nuclear bomb that went off. It was just the spotlights coming on.
Right. Anyway, next question.
Go on.
What would be your pre-race ritual?
Hamshank.
10 minutes before.
Hey, look, you'll lose a bit of weight.
Oh, you meant like that? Okay.
Did you actually think? Right. Okay. No, let's move on.
Carry on. Carry on.
I'd just have my AirPods in, listen to some music, get in the zone.
What music? What music?
Top Gun soundtrack.
Oh, nice. No, that's all I do. The exact same thing I do before I go up, and I go and do a gig or anything else like that. I'll go somewhere quiet. I'll stick my earbuds in, and I'll just listen to the music I normally play just to psych myself up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, what
I
would
thought
you
that'd be a
do?
lot more interesting. I don't know. I was thinking about this. I was thinking, there's music, food. Would you have like food? Would you wear like certain clothes? Would you do? I don't know. Definitely a shit. I'd definitely do a banging shit just before
Well, no,
everything.
you do it during the race.
Just to lighten the load again.
Yeah.
It's funny. So I play 5-a-side every week, and I always in the car I have the same playlist on the way to the game. It's not a league, but it's competitive. I have the same playlist on in the car on the way to it, and I always put my left
Meme that.
my left shin pad on and my left sock before my right one. And I've
This
never
is what I'm on
noticed
about.
it before. Yeah,
This is what I'm on about.
it's
When I used to swim, I used to have like a certain I'd go through like certain like motions. Like I'd stretch like a certain like left, then right, then left, and then like I'd kind of sit in a certain position and think about like what I'm gonna do. Like I don't know, and like I'd like take like my shoes off in a certain like way, on top off, and it's like weird.
If I had any carving rituals, I'd have to change them because I got beat by you. So obviously, I'd have to come up with some new ones.
I'd be in my comfies. I'd be in my comfies, like you said. You know, if we're going clothes wise, then yeah, lots of baggy stuff, nice and comfy stuff. I would have my music playing in my ears. You've already seen some of my ritual anyway. When you've both been at my wedding, you saw exactly what I was doing 5 minutes before. When I was stood at the front, I can't stand still. I was jumping up in the air.
Yeah.
I think at one point I ran to the back of the minster and back to the altar kind of thing, because I just suddenly get that full of energy. I just need to burn it off as quick as I can, because otherwise I'm just going to go nuts. So that'd be me. Comfies, load of music in my ears, and then just before I get out there, I'd be jumping all over the place just to psych myself up a bit more and burn off any adrenaline that I've.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. You got any questions or anything? Anything on top of it? I've got some more if you want.
Go on, carry on. Let's go.
What's your favorite dessert?
What's
your favorite dessert? What's your favorite dessert? A bit more of the random ones now.
Dessert?
Because I think we'll get to the end. Dessert. What's your favorite dessert?
Sticky toffee pudding, vanilla ice cream.
It's a good one. You've just got Charlie's favour back after the Jensen Button comment anyway. Oh. It's good. It's always going to be chocolate based for me. The only time I really struggle is if there's a chocolate kind of dessert and a cheesecake. If it's a chocolate cheesecake, it's easy because then it's best of both.
Chocolate fudge cake hot with cold ice cream is awesome.
Oh, you dirty bitch!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be a warm chocolate fudge cake.
The hot and cold, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one there.
Yours will be something stupid. Yeah, yours will be something daft.
New York cheesecake, just like a vanilla cheesecake. I think that's what I'd go for.
That's a bit plain for you. I thought it'd be something
every time.
Out there.
No, because I don't know if anybody else.
It's a very good one.
When you go to a restaurant, like you don't know what to have. I always rate the restaurant by the burger. If you have a burger, and if it's a good fucking burger, then that is for the price and the taste and the value and how much you get. That's how we rate. That's how we rate. And the desserts, similar. I think I'd always go for that cheesecake over that sticky toffee pudding.
That is a great shout. Yeah.
What's your favourite board game? Quickly now.
Risk.
Top of your head.
Monopoly.
Jenga. Love a good Jenga.
Is it a board game?
Maybe.
Surely to be a board game, it needs to have a board, right?
Well, yeah.
That's how I understand it.
We don't have long enough to discuss this.
Steal that for next week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh, what a shame.
What about you, James?
Risk.
I've never played that, but it looks pretty good. I need to play
Risk's
it.
pretty good.
Get it on. Would you have intelligence over looks? Or would you have looks over intelligence?
I suppose really what you're asking me is, do you want to be intelligent, James?
Well, you've got both, James, so don't worry about that.
I've only got one. Actually, well, no. I wouldn't even say I've got that. Still beat you though in the quiz, didn't I, dickhead?
You do know that all our partners are listening to this and are absolutely fucking pissing themselves right now.
Yeah,
so.
probably. I'd like
sending messages to each other saying what fucking dickheads these three are.
Yeah, straight in the middle with both. I'd half and half. I'd settle for that.
What's the best type of cheese? I'm a Red Leicester guy, to be honest. I know it's babyish, but it just tastes so good.
Double Gloucester.
James, quickly now.
Stilton.
Okay, last question. Do you wipe your ass standing up or seated?
I'm not answering that question.
Is this going to be followed up with which way do you lean, left or right?
Are you asking that question because you followed through again and you want to know, like, if you stand up, will that give the game away?
No, it's just a heated. It's just I've listened to it before on podcasts, and it's a heated debate. It's just I always like slightly I don't know, sit up slightly. It's like a half squat, and then kind of lean right-sided, right hand paper.
I like to keep a bit of mystery in our friendship, so I'm not answering that question.
Some people sit and just roll to a side, and I find that just how do you do that?
The fact that you make it to toilet, mate, is a miracle. So I think that's.
You're a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit.
We didn't, mate. Look, we haven't mentioned it for 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have a right to bring it up now.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. You deserve it.
Right then, last question. What are your pet peeves? Mine's Mark. And that's all we've got time for. Thank you, CookieCast. Fantastic. Keep editing these videos, Andy. You're doing a great job. And if subscribe, share, please comment. It's fantastic if you do. Silverstone, next Tuesday, filming, recording. Can't wait.
Tell friends about the podcast. Let's, spread. If you do listen to the podcast, spread the word. Let's,
spread the word.
It's great to get more listeners. Definitely, tell people if we're doing a good job. It'd be, nice to find out. Nice to know that.
Next time you can't share in someone, taking someone to work, put the podcast on them because they can't get out the car.
Exactly.
Or at least we hope they can't get out the car.
Yeah. And just don't admit you know Tony. If you do know Tony, just keep it quiet. Oh, I don't know him. I just found it.
Yeah, everyone in Leeds knows Tony now.
Fucking hell, yeah. Everyone knows me because I'm the kiddie beat.
I'm gonna post something on social this week that will show everybody how disappointed you was.
All right, okay. Thanks.
It's gonna be funny. Anyway, right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Cheers,
See you
guys.
next week. Enjoy Silverstone.
Come on, boys.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
See you later.
See you soon, lads. Bye.
So there we go. What do you think to that? Big thank you to Mark, Tony and James for taking us through the current Formula 1 standings and the upcoming race. Thank you to you for joining us and listening or watching along. There's definitely a YouTube video for this, so if you're not checking us out on YouTube, give that a try. Before I let you go, please consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop any reviews you might want to. And if you're in the mood for something on the internet, jump over to our website, thecookicast.com, Over there we've got social media links, email button, all kinds of stuff for you to get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.